So this was the original manufacturer that I've been using pretty much in my entire factory. However, there is a way to fit two manufacturers in a smaller footprint. So we're going to be doing that right now. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to Satisfactory, and welcome to my Reusable Blueprint series, where we are going to be creating blueprints that we do not ever stop using. So we're going to place our first manufacturer, as usual. You can somewhat place it in the middle, you can place it by a side, but I prefer when things are down in the middle. Okay, so with our manufacturer over here, what I intend on doing is using this space in the middle. So what we're going to do is we are going to be placing stackable conveyor poles, say over here. You can come over here and align it with this ladder over here, so it basically forms a corner. Then we're going to zoom it up around 5 times. And then let's do the same thing on the other side as well. Place this over here and zoom it up to 5. Now we're going to make some belts over here. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, and 4. These are going to be the 4 inputs for this manufacturer. However, we do need to place another manufacturer on top because we're not going to be happy with just one. So for that, we're going to snap it into place, then lock it. Then we're going to nudge it into the first manufacturer. And you're going to nudge it vertically up until it clears enough room over here for this second belt, because we need to fit some splitters over here. Now, as you can see, we can't really snap these splitters over here, even if I'm holding the snap button. To fix that, the solution is actually quite simple. You can place some lifts over here. They don't need to go all the way, because as soon as there's a lift, you can snap it to basically any position over here. That's what we're going to do. We're going to just place some lifts over here. These are not functional, we're going to get rid of it. Now we're going to be placing 2 splitters on every single one of these belts. So one over here and say another one on this end. However, you do need to place some Sudoku over here because vertically there's only going to be 2 splitters at a time. So it's better if you just place them together like this. So those are the 2 outer splitters, and now the inner belts also need a splitter. Let's get rid of these outer lifts so that we can actually see better. Now these top 2 lifts over here, they don't have any splitters, so let's just place 2 over here. So that's 1 over there, and this one for some reason I can't really snap, so we're just gonna get rid of this lift for now, and let's place another one over here for this one. Now if for some reason you can't actually snap it over here on this belt, then what you can do is you can snap it to this splitter on top. That's 1 and that's 2. But then you will have to get rid of this belt because we didn't place it on the belt, so the belt did not get split properly. See over here, the belt is split and the splitters are connected with a separate segment. Alright, now we can get rid of all of these lifts, because the only purpose for those lifts was to help us place these splitters. Now each of these manufacturers need to be connected to 1 belt each. However, if you connect it from the manufacturer to the splitter, it won't actually connect. So what you need to do is you need to connect it from the splitter to the manufacturer. And that way it will be connected to both of the machines at the same time. So that's the bottom one connected to the bottom manufacturer. That's belt number 2 connected to the bottom manufacturer. That's belt number 3 and belt number 4. Okay, now that one belt that we actually removed, we do need to place it back. So let's connect these stackable conveyor lifts over here to these splitters that we placed. There we go. And we need to also connect these 2 splitters with each other. So that's 1 and 2. Lovely. By the way, it's also a good idea to use the dismantle tool and confirm that this belt actually ends at the splitter, because if you see over here, that's 1, 2. Those are both fine. However, this bottom one is continuing all the way through. So the snapping didn't really work on that one. So you can just remove that and connect it with the splitter once more manually. There we go. Okay, now the top manufacturer. In a similar fashion, you need to connect to the splitter first and then the manufacturer itself. So that's going to be 1. That's 2. And now basically we need to connect all of these empty splitters to the manufacturer, as long as you placed your splitters properly. There we go, that's the input of both of these manufacturers done. Now you might be wondering why we place these stackable conveyor poles over here. Well, we're not going to be removing them because they matter a lot, okay? But first we need to come over here and do the outputs. Now ideally we would place a vertical merger over here, but because this is at the base, we can't actually do that. Can we do that? No, we cannot. So instead, what we're going to be doing is we're not going to snap it over here. We're going to just move it slightly off and make sure that the input is at the top. Then lock it into place. Take it all the way over here so it's in line with the top manufacturer over here. But it's not going to auto-connect because we need some space down here for a merger. Now, similar to all of my builds, I want my inputs and outputs to be in the same direction. So we're going to be taking this output out towards where I'm taking in the input from. So there we go. And now we need to place just the smallest possible belts over here. And make sure you also connect the output from the bottom manufacturer towards this splitter. That's pretty much it. That's your 2 manufacturers in a single Mk.1 Blueprint Designer done. It's pretty darn compact, but there is probably a way to make this more compact. Anyway, we do need to power this up. So let's also create a power pole over here. We're going to take it all the way to the other side, say right here, and then connect the second one to the bottom manufacturer. That way, both of these poles have 2 connections each. Yep. And what that's going to let you do is that's going to let you daisy chain it while also being able to supply power with it or from it, wherever you take it. Anyway, that can't really be it, right? We need to actually test the blueprint as well. Before we move on to the next part of the video, I have a request. It seems like most of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. By the way, you can download these blueprints in the description down below. However, I do not recommend doing that because building stuff yourself is more fun. And also you can customize the colors and the design as well. Now, around 10 million years ago, I had this computer set up, and this is basically where I initially came up with this design. I know the design isn't that original, but I came up with it myself, so I'm really proud of it. Anyway, let's disconnect this and use our new setup over here. However, my inventory is kind of clogged, so let's clear it up first. So let's use our 2 manufacturers blueprint over here. Oh my god, it's already so much more compact. Okay, so that's going to be the first 4 manufacturers. And now, here's the reason why we actually have these stackable poles on either sides of our inputs. And also the reason we have these tiny belts over here. Because if you change it to Blueprint Auto Connect mode, and you snap it to this first one, but obviously you need to rotate it so it's oriented the right way, you will see that these belts are being automatically connected to each other. Now that does create a tiny little gap over here, but I think the quality of life is definitely worth it. So now we just double click it and that will connect it. Beautiful. You might be questioning why are we double clicking it, by the way. The reason we're double clicking it is because after the first click, what happens is it just connects the belts together and then you can place it wherever you want, even like this. I'm gonna be honest, this is the best feature that they have ever added to this game. And let's also add a 4th blueprint over here just for safekeeping. Absolutely splendid. Okay, that is amazing. Now let's connect the inputs. For this recipe, we only need 3 of the inputs over here, but that's fine. So let's connect one of them over here. And that's gonna be the plastic. There we go. And that, I believe, is going to be the circuits. However, it seems like we're not making enough circuits, so I already know what I'm going to be doing in the next video. You should subscribe so you don't miss that, because this place needs to become at least 10 times more efficient than it is right now. Now let's come over here and tell this to make computers for me. I wonder if I'll even be using the same computer recipe. Probably not, right? Now all we need to do is just daisy chain these together so that everything has power. There we go. And then the last pole can just connect to any power supply over here. Now let's add all of my plastic over here to these so that they can start creating some circuits. Oh wait, I have like 200 circuits on me. There. And I don't really care about this first one. This was obviously going to turn green. It's maybe the second column over here, because if these two start making some stuff, then that means everything is working perfectly fine. Alright, lovely. So it turned green. That means this one is fine. And is the bottom one at least getting the resources? Yes, it is. Great. Now let's come out on the other side over here And we should have computers coming in really soon. Hey, there's the first one. It went somewhere. Where did it go? Oh, they're coming this way. I forgot. They're not supposed to go over there. They're going to be coming out the same direction that the ingredients are going in. Okay, so that means our manufacturer blueprint is working perfectly fine. We were able to fit twice as many manufacturers in the same footprint. Plus, it was just insanely easy, okay? Alright, next up, I'm pretty sure I need to come up with a better recipe for these circuit boards because the fact that they're using all of my plastic isn't really fun. Or maybe we just need to make more plastic. Yeah, I built this place like 200 hours ago or something. This needs an upgrade. We'll figure something out. Thank you for watching. Smash that subscribe button because I'm pretty sure the only blueprint that we're left with is smelters. But I am not going to be doing something like this for smelter over here. Actually, do we even want to do smelters? You should never be using smelters. You should be using refineries. Anyway, those are all problems for future me. Smash that subscribe button and I will see you guys next time. Bye!